In this video, I'll be demonstrating adding beads to our knitting with a crochet hook. If you're a subscriber, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. So adding beads are a great way to add some bling and some sparkle to our knitting. And there are many ways to add beads to our knitting. One way that I commonly use is using a crochet hook, a fine crochet hook, to add beads to the knitting. These get added one stitch at a time. So let me show you how this is done. Here's an example of what this will look like when the knitting is done. This is a way to add single beads one at a time. So they're more like decorative effects. They're scattered throughout the knitting as opposed to being stacked one on top of one another. So what you'll need to do this is a very fine crochet hook matched to the size of your beads. If you have larger beads, you can get away with using a larger crochet hook. These are 8-0 seed beads, and I am using a 1mm crochet, steel crochet hook. It's a very fine hook, very small, very fine hook. But it needs to get through the center of the bead. The shaft of the crochet hook needs to be able to enter the hole in the bead. And then your hook needs to be just enough to be able to hook your yarn that you're using. So I'm using lace weight yarn here. So this project doesn't call for beads, but I'm just using it to demonstrate with. So you get to the stitch that you want to add a bead to. You pick up a bead with your crochet hook, just one bead, like so. You insert your crochet hook into that stitch, drop the stitch off the knitting needle, use the hook to gently pull the yarn through the bead and place that stitch back on your knitting needle, like so, and then knit that stitch off the needle. I'm going to zoom in and show you that one more time. You knit up to the stitch you want to add a bead to. You insert your hook into the beads and pick up a single bead. Use the crochet hook to insert into that stitch. Slide the stitch off the knitting needle. Pull the yarn through the bead. Place that stitch back on the knitting needle and then knit that stitch or purl or whatever stitch you're working right there. So this method inserts a single bead onto a single stitch, and so the bead is oriented with the hole vertically. Both legs, the entire stitch is going through the center of that bead. So you need to size your beads properly so that the yarn, a doubled width of your yarn, can fit inside the hole of that bead. 8-0 beads tend to be a good size for lace weight yarn. Then you would need to experiment, if you're using thicker yarns, what size beads you would need to buy in order to accommodate the yarn. And then you could also get away with using a slightly larger crochet hook as well. It can be a little bit difficult. This hook is very tiny. It can be difficult if your yarn is very splitty to pull your yarn through the bead without splitting the yarn. So it can be a little tricky to work, but there you go. So that's adding beads to our knitting using a crochet hook. What do you think? Have you used this method before? Let me know in the comments below. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.